Alright, man, peace. Welcome back. It's Kenem White. This is North Star Diaries, episode 6. It's been 6 episodes so far, 6 vlogs. It's not been 6 weeks. 6 weeks. It's been much longer than 6 weeks. Um, but yeah, just really happy with the consistency in terms of at least making these videos as like a minimum effort. In terms of like other stuff that I've been doing in terms of the service architect roadmap, I haven't been making content except these videos. The videos are like, just kind of something cool because it just helps me look at me and talk. So it's been mutually beneficial to keep doing these. In terms of like Substack posts and uh, updates on LinkedIn, I haven't done any Substack posts because I've not I've not continued with the learning roadmap. Right now, it's actually important for me to actually keep doing it because I'm doing service blueprinting and I actually kind of need it. I need to learn a bit more about it. But I'll speak to that shortly. But yeah, so from last week, I was talked about had interview prep and how to do a presentation, interview, all went good. The interview was in person. It was, sorry, that's just that's just a 50-minute timer. That was in person in Kersley. Yeah, man, it's pretty cool actually. I was pretty nervous. It's just like any interview, you're always like quite nervous. Well, at least for me, I'm always like nervous. Even though I'm well prepared, like it's just, it's just, I don't know. I just can't really explain it to most of you. But yeah, in terms of the interview, man, like I said, in person, it was something like completely different to like what I've ever done before because I was the workshop. So that was the interesting thing because that's something that I've never actually had access to or never done. So one of the things was like, yo, how does a workshop work remotely? I've already like seen it be demonstrated, but I've never actually experienced how that actually works in real world. And yeah, it was actually quite surreal to kind of realize I was participating in a workshop, but the workshop was the interview. So it was kind of interesting that I was able to spot that and mention that because I was like, hey, that's kind of how it works, right? I was like, that was like probably like the most seamless thing I've ever experienced. Like, I've never experienced that. You know what I mean? I've been designing for a while, but because I have mainly been solo. Now trying to work with teams, it's like, whoa, actually really worked well. Like, it's actually really gelling. Um, but yeah, so let me just talk about the interview itself. Um, 1 second. Let me see. What did we say? What did we say? What did we say? Yeah, the overall assessment, according to what I described or brain dumped to ChatGPT, is I came across thoughtful, collaborative, system minded, reflective, and comfortable working with ambiguity. Again, those are kind of the main traits being assessed within the role. And in service design, you kind of realize facilitation is a massive aspect of the job. Um, so, like I said, um, demonstrated service design instead of describing it. So like I said, what I was saying earlier about the workshop moment was like, oh, this is actually what we're doing. So yeah, hopefully it was a good signal. Again, learning. Well, it says showed learning agility in real time, gaps in knowledge. I reflected on gaps in knowledge, how the task change your think, how the task change my thinking, because like I said, I'm transitioning into service design, so I'm just applying a UX lens or a design thinking lens to this like whole project, and I realized, oh, that's actually not what's required here. Like, it's actually just not required. So I think that was really good signal to kind of like just be as self-aware to like, oh, this task actually helped me understand service design a lot more, in many ways than probably they would probably think about. um, but yeah, it says Shows maturity, humility, systems thinking, readiness to operate in real organizations. Says far more likely to trust someone who can update their thinking than someone who insists they're already right. And that's like things like, even like with the design task, I kind of was like, design a workshop. I've never done a workshop. I've never ran one. So, but my brother has. My brother works for the World Economic Forum, and he works with senior partners from external places. So I was like, oh, get him on the phone. How do you do this, and how do you do that, and how do you get people prepped, and what's the pre-check, and what's the pre-task, and what do you do during, what do you do afterwards? So just kind of like inquiring and just asking questions. They're like, oh, this is how it kind of runs. I was like, oh, cool. And then I shared that moment, in the interview. Point 3, communicated influence without ego, stakeholder conversations, extracting insights informally, advocating for design through relationships and content, because it's grounded and real. So point 4 was the interview expanded instead of contracting. The session running well over time. It says signals engagement, curiosity, mutual interest and comfort. Again, I don't try to look too hard into like how long an interview lasts. So I think it probably started around 105, 110 maybe, and probably I didn't finish until maybe 250-ish, because I got to the train station at like 3:10 or something around that. So it wasn't actually, it was pretty, it was only meant to be for like an hour, but it lasted like well over, and I didn't mind. Yeah, again, point 5, showed self-awareness without self-doubt. I'm quite soft-spoken, which the interviewee picked up, which I don't think is necessarily a problem. But again, it's something that I'm fully aware of. But again, once I'm comfortable, like once I'm just comfortable, like that, like it just becomes very easy. I had a bit of a, wardrobe melt, but anyways. So what the summary is, according to ChatGPT, is you came across as someone that they could genuinely work with, not just hire. The difference between, do they meet the bar, and would this be a good addition to the team? Align strongly with roles in turn without level. But yeah, you know what, man, in general, man, like the interview was like a pretty good signal as like, yo, like I'm operating at the right level. And let me ask you, what level is that? What level is that? What level would that be? Because the role is for a senior service designer, but of course, like I said, I have a background in UX, and I'm not formally senior, I'm not formally lead, but I can be if I needed to. Can be, but I'm pretty much like a mid tier UX designer. So as a service designer, it is kind of like it's such a different role. So, but yeah, so that was the interview. I talked about it for 9 minutes. Wow, that's crazy. I talked about it for 9 minutes. That's crazy. My hair's cooked. But yeah, so let's talk about the William Hill project, man. Let us go back. Yeah, so today, like this week, I talked about the rich picture diagrams and pig models last week, but today is just all about the service blueprint. So one of the main things was to kind of just get this outline, like the service blueprint outline, because remember I was talking about with the service design project, and I think last week was also like, oh, my end deliverable wasn't actually required, or like isn't just what's needed. There's other stuff, there's additional things that are needed to help with implementation and delivery. So like I said, the service blueprint was one of those things. So when it comes to like the diagramming, I already had something that I did with a project that I called Jaundice, and that I was trying to, it's like a startup that I was trying to like get off the ground, and it's mainly a lot of ethnographic research, and it just never really manifested because the problem was APIs and access to information, and it's kind of a massive headache. And to be honest with you, it just was not. I just didn't see the value. I just actually just didn't see the value of having someone to pay for that service. So I just kind of like just left it there. It's going to be a case study on my website at some point, but not right now. But yeah, in terms of the service blueprint, yeah, like I said, I already had the structure, so I was just looking at some examples of kind of how it kind of is organized and presented, and then this is kind of like my interpretation of it. So in terms of the William Hill project, of course, in terms of backstage actions and support processes, I just don't have. I'm just not privy to that information. Can I find the information? Probably. I can actually. I can most definitely get the information. That's not the problem. It's just, is it even worthwhile? Because this is a missing. The line of visibility and line of internal interaction, are just gaps that I probably wouldn't even know. Wouldn't even know. I can make an adjustment. I can make an assessment, but I think for these two roles, I'll just have to leave kind of like a note of saying these are just left blank because I just don't have access to these people or information. But everything else, yeah, we can do that, no problem. But yeah, so this week was just kind of like just getting this sorted out in terms of like the structure. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm really gonna do two service blueprints. So one is gonna be the current state and the ideal state, more like the kind of transformational state, which is probably the more important document. So, but yeah, now let's head over to Figma. So yes, like yesterday, after the interview, I was like just really locked in and just wanted to get the stuff done, and I was able to just knock it out. Like I was able to get like the outline done, and actually like today finish it. So I'm pretty happy with it. It's pretty simple, to be honest with you. It's mainly for tablets, so there's no like additional pages that I need to make, or like I don't need to go crazy with component library style guides. It's just basic. I just keep it basic. Just stay pragmatic, because because all that matters here is the prototype. That's all that matters. But yeah, in terms of prototype, this is kind of how it's looking. Yeah, I'm very happy with it. Oh, I do need to change that actually. I do need to change that. You know how hard it is to find a toilet, a restroom icon? You know how hard it is to find a restroom icon? I spent like 10, 20 minutes just trying to find a decent one. Only to go back to the first one I made. The first one I picked. Yeah, it's not fun. But yeah, so in terms of the prototype, let's just run it. So yeah, I have the shop. So we'll just talk about the actual design. What was that? So you have range, which is the shop name, and then you have these checks, just some this is just some paragraph text to just supporting text. So these checks are required in a daily compliance policy, and then you have time, date. Probably don't need it, but it's a good visual aid, to be honest with you. And then you have today's summary. So I've actually sent this to I think maybe three. No, yeah, I've shown this to three people. So one is the one is a team leader, and one is a customer service rep. And the general sentiment is it's a lot better than what the current form is. So yeah, early sentiment positive. But yeah, so in terms of the actual prototype, it's just very stupid simple. So enter your name, it's my name. So a bit of logic here is you're only allowed to tap one entry. So you can't do all of them at the same time. You have to do one at a time. So that was a bit of a good logic to add. And then you click log check, then a modal will pop up, just a bit of confirmation, just to make sure, hey, you're entering the right information. So one of the things recently, and kind of why compliance is such a important issue, is there's some recent events within William Hill that kind of like signified, oh, compliance is actually really important, and important accurate information is just as important, because again, compliance means companies can look back and see, okay, if an incident occurred, what was logged, and who is responsible, who logged it, did they actually do it, did they actually do the call, did they actually check the toilet, did they actually do the actual task. So but yeah, I'm happy with this. So the modal pops up, hit confirm, hit cancel, hit confirm, and this is now the completed / disabled state. So we have just a bit of context about, who the person was, time and date. Time and date probably doesn't the date probably doesn't matter too much, but the time definitely does. But in terms of the actual content, I'm really happy with it. Design, yeah, again, really happy with it. It's very just minimal, simple, and one of the things that I really wanted to add was this undo button, because sometimes you may log something and you actually can't change it no more. So this just simple toast pop up just is a real good game changer, because now you can actually input correct information. Confirm, and yeah, that's pretty much that. That's the checks page, and then you have visual aids, visual aids. So just a quick glance, you have 1 out of 15 done, or 7%. Again, really good. Even the average, again, with this average thing, I'm not actually too sure what the best format would be, but I think 4 weeks would probably be pretty fair. And then you have the learning and resources. So these actually don't link anywhere, because I don't have a document. I've not designed. I've reached out to talent partners, but not talent partner, but like internal, like I don't know what the actual right department is. They do learning specialists, but I haven't got any word from them just yet. But maybe we can create just a very simple document around this. But I don't know. Do I want to do that? Is it going to be beneficial for me? Maybe, probably. But do I want to do it right now? Probably not. But yeah. So one of the things actually I was thinking about, and actually raised this when I was speaking to one of the team leaders, the other team leaders, was like, you see kind of how it's designed. I don't know why that's gone. That is just very weird. The line here. Yeah, you see how it kind of designed as tabs here? It actually could remove an extra tab. It could remove an additional tab, because you still tap into stuff, but now it's like it's on this page, so you don't need to click it. You don't need to perform another action, another tap to get into the actual page. Everything's just one. It's here, because when you hit shop dashboard, it should show you a shop dashboard. It should match. The system should match the real world, right? It should match it. But yeah, in terms of the design, I'm really happy with it. I'm pretty much done with this high fidelity prototype. I don't think there's not much else for me to do, but just change the icons, and that's really it, man. So now I can actually focus on completing the service blueprint. Actually, go big screen. Now I can actually just focus on completing the service blueprint, and also the proposal for I don't know what stakeholder would view it, but just the proposal in general, because like I said, with service design, I realized that just completing the project with this is okay, but what happens after, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with the work. It's been a fun project, to be honest with you. I learned a lot, especially like in the more recent weeks. And yeah, I don't know what I'll do after this project, to be honest with you. Maybe I'll still be at Windmill, maybe not, hopefully not. Hopefully we get the right outcome, get the right outcome next week, or the greater outcome this week, next week. So, but yeah, stay tuned for week 7, and week 7 should be a project wrap up. I don't know whether I'm gonna do a video. I probably will do like a final video, just kind of just centered around this project of like how it came about, the task I did, what each element of like the mirror board, let's make sure, like just talking about the mirror board, you know, mapping experience, the evaluations, the what is this again? I forget what these are called, the ecosystem maps, the, you know, UI flows, internal document reviews, the testing. Actually, I need to update that as well, because I did actually do the retail hub, use a bit of testing. I need to update that, just remind myself. Where's the note? Even the rich pictures, the pig models, and the service blueprint. Yeah, I think it's pretty good work. You know what I mean? It's pretty good work. And the thing I've realized as well is like with service design is, as long as you're able to as long as you're able to have a complete, as much as a complete picture about a service or whatever you're working on, you're able to just make decisions. You're able to make decisions. And one of the things that in the interview is like, you know, in theory, go away, sorry. why is it? But yeah, in theory, your plan should work as intended, but in the real world, it doesn't. So it's also about being able to just, whatever information you have, is you're able to make good judgment calls, good judgment. And I feel as if this project, especially in the recent weeks, has been a showcase of good judgment, especially with like what I talked about before, where it's like I'm using systems thinking and design thinking for this project, and it's just not required. There's like a whole bunch of other tasks or deliverables I can make, but there's just no point. Like, it's just not as big or as complex as a problem, and all these additional tasks from an experience perspective makes sense, but in general, where is it? Where's my shop? In general, it's just not necessary. Like, it's just actually just not necessary. But yeah. Oh, one thing that I actually wanted to show as well is I have been working on updating my portfolio. Just mainly the landing page, because I felt as if like it's a bit shit. It's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay, but it doesn't really scream personality. You know what I mean? Especially like now, there's like I said, there's a lot has been happening in the past few weeks. So personality has been like coming out. You know what I mean? Blossoming, for lack of a better word. But yeah, I will prototype this right now. But yeah, as you see, we're just solid. We have picked the direction. We finally moved with intention, and we picked the direction as a service designer, and we're going fully fledged. You know what I mean? So hey, Kenem White, service designer. That's it. That's it. Places I worked at, I helped. Mini Cooper, Work Vanilla, Love Circular. We can actually add William Hill on this also, and then featured work. I'm still working on some case studies, but just the actual like landing page, I'm very happy with this. And one of the key things is the service architect diary, because it just sits on my YouTube and on my Notion, and no one else knows about it. So it's been public, but I've just not been, on LinkedIn or anything like that. But yeah, that is pretty much it, man. Like, let me actually make me smaller. But yeah, that's pretty much the web. That's pretty much my new landing page. I've actually mostly got this page done. It's just a case of a few other things that I need to do to just get it ready to launch, which, to be honest with you, probably get it done maybe by the end of this week. Yeah, I think so. But yeah, let's go back. Yeah, fuck, it's been 25 minutes. Shit. 25 minutes. Let's go. It's probably the longest one I've done. But there's just a lot to talk about today. But yeah, so like I said, next week should be a project wrap up. We're about we're about what? We're about how many weeks early? How many weeks early? About 17 weeks early. That's crazy. We're about 17 weeks early. Maybe probably more like 50. No, yeah, we're about 17 weeks early from what we thought we'd be. But yeah, I kind of need to figure out a new project, or maybe look into actually expanding into other like forms, other things as well. That's just not this. Because like I said, with service design, it's about transforming aspects of a service over time, not just one and done. So that could be something to look into moving forward after this is done, after this is implemented, and after you actually have results and feedback and sentiment and a better understanding of what the actual company wants as well. Because this has mostly been me and involving other team members and colleagues. So yeah, thank you for watching episode 6. Yeah, 6 I think. Yeah, thanks.